All right, so you're thinking about herringbone flooring, huh? I get it. That classic pattern is making a serious comeback, and for good reason. It just oozes timeless elegance, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
But let's be honest. It's also a bit intimidating. All those angles, the precision, makes you wonder, is it really a DIY-friendly project? Well, lucky for you, we've got this awesome article from Flooring 365. It's titled, How to Lay Herringbone Flooring, Tips and Tricks for a Stunning Look. And we're going to unpack it all for you today.
That's right. We're going to try to equip you with all the knowledge you need so you can confidently tackle this project, whether you're doing it yourself or chatting with a pro.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about why herringbone is so darn appealing. I mean, this pattern's been around for centuries, right?
Exactly. It's been gracing floors since ancient Rome, and it's still just as captivating today. What's fascinating is how it adds both sophistication and the sense of movement to a space. Those interlocking planks create this visual flow. It just draws you in.
I can totally see that. It's like it instantly elevates any room, right? Okay, so say you're sold on the herringbone look. What's next? The article dives right into the materials. Engineered wood, LVT. And solid wood. To be honest, I'm always a little lost with all the different flooring types. Can you break it down for me?
Absolutely. Let's start with engineered wood. This is a great option if you want the authentic look of real wood. But with added stability, it's constructed with layers of plywood topped with a veneer of hardwood, which makes it less prone to warping or expanding compared to solid wood. And that makes it much more DIY friendly, especially if you're a beginner.
So if you're thinking about tackling this yourself, engineered wood sounds like it strikes a good balance between looks and practicality. What about LVT? I've seen that pop up everywhere lately.
LVT, or luxury vinyl tile, is a superstar when it comes to affordability and durability. It's made from layers of PVC, with a photographic layer that mimics the look of wood or stone. The great thing about LVT is that it's incredibly resistant to moisture, scratches, and dents, making it perfect for high-traffic areas or homes with pets.
Okay, so if budget's a concern, LVT sounds like a great way to get that herringbone look without breaking the bank. But if you're going for that classic, timeless feel, there's always solid wood, right?
Yes. Solid wood is the OG of flooring. It's undeniably charming, adds real value to your home, and with proper care, can last a lifetime. However, it does require more maintenance, especially in areas prone to moisture fluctuations. Solid wood can expand and contract with changes in humidity, so it's essential to choose the right type of wood and carefully consider the environment it'll be installed in.
Got it. So it sounds like each material has its own personality and best use scenarios. The article really stresses choosing pre-finished materials too. To be honest, that sounds like a lifesaver, especially for someone like me, who's not exactly a DIY expert.
You're absolutely right. Pre-finished materials come already sanded, stained, and sealed, which means you can skip those messy and time-consuming steps. It simplifies the installation process and ensures a more consistent, professional-looking finish.
Okay, so we've got our materials sorted. Now the article goes almost overboard on prep work, measuring, planning the pattern direction, getting the subfloor absolutely perfect. They even recommend adding an extra 10% to your measurements. For cuts and waste, I mean, is all that really necessary?
It might sound like overkill, but trust me, the article is spot on. Think of it this way. You wouldn't build a house on a shaky foundation, would you?
Right.
The subfloor is the foundation of your herringbone floor, and any imperfections will show through in the final result.
That makes sense. So a wonky subfloor could mean a wonky herringbone pattern, not exactly the elegant look we're going for, right?
Exactly. An uneven subfloor can lead to gaps, misalignment, and ultimately, a less durable and visually appealing floor. So, yeah, all that prep work is absolutely crucial for a successful herringbone installation.
Okay, so you've got your prep subfloor, pre-finished materials, you're feeling good. Now what? The article lays out the steps, starting with marking the center of the room. I guess that makes sense. For a pattern like this...
Absolutely. Finding that central point is crucial for establishing the symmetry of your herringbone pattern. It's like setting the anchor for your design.
They recommend snapping chalk lines to create that perfect starting point, and even doing a dry run with a few planks. To visualize the pattern, they even share a story about a happy customer. Who swears by this visualization tip?
It's amazing how much easier it is to catch potential problems. When you take the time to visualize the pattern beforehand, it's like fitting puzzle pieces together, making sure everything aligns correctly before you commit.
Okay, so you visualize your herringbone masterpiece, you're feeling confident, but before you start laying those planks, let's talk about the glue that holds it all together, literally. The article stresses using the right type of adhesive, for your chosen material.
Right. And it's not just about choosing any adhesive, it's about compatibility and ensuring a strong, lasting bond. Between your flooring and the subfloor, using the wrong adhesive can lead to problems down the line, like loose planks or unevenness.
So what kind of adhesives are we talking about here? Are there different types for different materials?
You'll typically encounter two main types: pressure-sensitive adhesives and urethane adhesives. Pressure-sensitive adhesives are commonly used for LVT, as they offer a strong initial tack and are easy to apply. Urethane adhesives, on the other hand, are known for their moisture resistance and strong bonding capabilities, making them suitable for engineered wood and solid wood flooring.
Wow, so choosing the right adhesive is more complicated than I thought. It's like a whole other layer of decision-making. The article really emphasizes following the manufacturer's instructions, especially for LVT.
Absolutely. Every flooring material has its own specific requirements, and using the recommended adhesive ensures a successful and long-lasting installation.
Okay, so you've got your adhesive sorted, you're ready to start laying those planks. But hold on, the article also mentions spacers. Are those really necessary?
Those spacers are your insurance policy against buckling and warping. Wood naturally expands and contracts with changes in temperature and humidity. Those little gaps created by the spacers allow for that movement and prevent your beautiful herringbone floor from turning into a wavy mess down the line. Imagine you skip this, and a year later, your beautiful floor starts buckling. Nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. I can already picture the horror. Okay, so spacers, check. What about the actual laying process? Any tips for getting those planks perfectly aligned?
Patience and precision are your best friends here. The article recommends using a tapping block and a rubber mallet to gently tap the planks into place, ensuring a tight fit and a seamless pattern. And don't forget that straight edge, or laser level, to regularly check your alignment.
It sounds like a delicate dance between strength and finesse. But honestly, that's what makes this whole process so appealing. It's like creating a work of art, one perfectly placed plank at a time.
You got it. It's about taking your time, embracing the precision, and enjoying the satisfaction of seeing that herringbone pattern come together beautifully.
Okay, we've laid the foundation, literally, for our herringbone floor. But what about those tricky edges and corners? That's where things get a little scary for me.
Don't worry, the article has you covered. It recommends using a miter saw to make those precise cuts around the edges. It's all about measuring twice and cutting once to ensure a perfect fit.
A miter saw. I'm sensing a trip to the hardware store in my future. But seriously, those precise cuts are what elevate this from a DIY project to a masterpiece, right?
Exactly. It's those little details that make all the difference in the final look.
All right, so we've laid our flooring, meticulously trimmed those edges. What's next? The article moves on to finishing touches, starting with skirting boards. What exactly do those do?
Skirting boards serve a dual purpose. First, they cover those expansion gaps we talked about, giving your floor a clean, finished look. And second, they protect your walls from scuffs and bumps, from furniture or foot traffic.
Oh, so they're both practical and aesthetically pleasing. Form and function, I like it. And finally, sealant. If you didn't go with pre-finished materials, this step is key, right?
Absolutely. Applying a protective sealant is crucial for enhancing durability and protecting your floors from stains, scratches, and moisture damage.
So it's like a shield.
Yeah.
Against the wear and tear of everyday life. What kind of sealants should people be looking for?
Well, there are various types, each with its own properties. Some offer more durability, while others provide a specific sheen or finish. The article encourages you to research different sealant options to find the best fit for your needs and aesthetic preferences. It's like the cherry on top of your herringbone masterpiece.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From choosing materials to laying planks, and even finishing touches. But the article doesn't stop there, does it?
Right. It dives into some common mistakes to avoid. Think of these as cautionary tales for anyone attempting DIY herringbone.
Ooh, I love a good cautionary tale. Let's hear it. What are the biggest mistakes people make when laying herringbone flooring?
Well, mistake number one, and this one should sound familiar, is skipping subfloor preparation. The article is very clear. An uneven subfloor is a recipe for disaster, especially with a pattern as intricate as herringbone.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. It's like building a house of cards on a wobbly table. Not a good idea. What other pitfalls should people watch out for?
Another common mistake is starting without a clear plan. You know, those meticulous measurements, the dry run with the planks, visualizing the final pattern, all that planning might seem tedious, but it's crucial for a smooth installation.
So basically, winging it is not an option with Herringbone.
Not if you want a professional-looking result. Without a clear layout and understanding of how your herringbone pattern will come together, you risk wasting materials, ending up with an uneven floor, and probably a lot of frustration along the way.
Makes sense. It's like trying to bake a cake without a recipe.
Yeah.
Chaos in the kitchen. Okay, so subfloor prep and planning are crucial. What else trips people up?
Mistake number 3, neglecting those all-important expansion gaps. Around the edges of the room, remember those spacers. They're not just there to make the installation look pretty.
Right. Those are all little heroes.
Yeah.
Preventing buckling and warping. But I can see how someone might forget about them in the heat of the moment, especially if they're focused on getting those planks perfectly aligned.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final, and perhaps most relatable, mistake: rushing the process. The article really emphasizes the need for patience and precision when laying herringbone flooring.
It's not a race, right? You're creating something beautiful and long-lasting. Why rush it?
Exactly. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. You wouldn't just jam pieces together randomly, would you?
No.
Each plank needs to be carefully positioned, aligned, and secured to create that seamless herringbone pattern.
Ooh, that's a good analogy. The jigsaw puzzle of flooring. I like it. So we've talked about the mistakes to avoid. Are there any other nuggets of wisdom from the article that could help us on our herringbone journey?
Absolutely. The article wraps up with some additional tips for success, and I think these are really valuable. First up, invest in quality tools. A good miter saw for those precise cuts, a straight edge or laser level for alignment, the right adhesive applicator. These will make a world of difference.
It's like having the right tools for any job, right? Makes everything easier and smoother. But I'm guessing quality tools can be a bit of an investment. Is it really worth it?
Think of it as an investment in the longevity and beauty of your flooring. The right tools will pay for themselves in terms of a more professional-looking, durable, and long-lasting result.
Okay, I'm convinced. Quality tools it is. Any other pearls of wisdom to share?
The article also recommends working in small sections, applying adhesive to one area at a time to prevent it from drying out. This is especially important when working with adhesives that have a short working time, like some pressure-sensitive adhesives.
That's like a strategy game almost. Planning your moves, applying adhesive strategically, keeping everything flowing smoothly.
Exactly. And of course, clean as you go. Wipe away any excess adhesive immediately to avoid it drying on the surface. And creating a messy finish, it's much easier to deal with a little bit of adhesive here and there than a big sticky mess later on.
Makes sense. Cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say, especially when you're dealing with glue. Any final words of advice from the article?
The last point is about not being afraid to ask for help. DIY herringbone can be a big undertaking, especially for larger rooms. So if you need an extra set of hands for measuring, cutting, or just moral support, don't hesitate to reach out to a friend or family member.
That's great advice. Sometimes it's nice to have someone there to share the experience, celebrate the victories, and maybe help you laugh off any mishaps along the way.
Exactly. It's all about making the process enjoyable and rewarding.
Okay, wow. We've really gone deep into the world of herringbone flooring. From choosing materials and prepping the subfloor, to laying planks, avoiding common mistakes, and even adding those finishing touches. We've covered it all. I feel like I could almost tackle this project myself now.
Me too. And that's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it? It takes something that might seem intimidating and breaks it down into manageable steps, empowering you with the knowledge to take on the challenge.
Absolutely. And this article from Flooring 365 really gave us a solid foundation to build on. But as always, there's more to the story. Stay tuned because when we come back, we'll be recapping the key takeaways and diving into some additional considerations that could impact your herringbone flooring project. All right, so we've journeyed through this intricate world of herringbone flooring, armed with tips and tricks, and even a few cautionary tales. But before we send you off to conquer your own flooring project, let's recap those key takeaways.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's crystallize all that knowledge.
Okay, takeaway number 1. Herringbone flooring is undeniably stylish. It's like adding instant sophistication and visual interest to any room, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's that classic pattern that never goes out of style.
But, and this is a big but, it's not a project for the faint of heart. Herringbone demands careful planning, meticulous execution, and a whole lot of patience.
It's definitely a step up. From your average weekend DIY project, it's about embracing the process, the precision, and the challenge.
Takeaway number 2, which we can't emphasize enough, is the importance of preparation. From accurately measuring your space to ensuring a perfectly smooth and level subfloor, Those early steps lay the foundation for success.
Think of it as setting the stage. For your herringbone masterpiece, you want a solid, even base for those beautiful planks to shine.
And takeaway number 3, choose your materials wisely. Engineered wood, LVT, solid wood. Each option has its own personality and best use scenarios.
Right. It's about finding the perfect balance between aesthetics, durability, and practicality.
And remember, pre-finished materials are your best friend, especially if you're a DIY enthusiast looking to simplify the installation process.
Absolutely. Pre-finished materials take the guesswork out of sanding, staining, and sealing, giving you a professional-looking finish right out of the box.
Okay, moving on to takeaway number 4. Precision is paramount. From marking that center starting point to carefully aligning each plank. Attention to detail is what separates a good herringbone floor from a truly stunning one.
It's all about those little details, those perfectly aligned planks, those consistent gaps created by the spacers, those precise cuts around the edges. That's what makes herringbone so visually captivating.
And speaking of tools, takeaway number 5, invest in quality. A good miter saw, a straight edge, the right adhesive applicator. These are your allies in achieving a flawless herringbone installation.
Think of it as an investment. In the long-term beauty and durability of your floor, good tools make a world of difference.
And finally, takeaway number 6, which might be the most important of all. Don't rush the process. Take your time, double-check your measurements, and savor the experience.
Enjoy the process, embrace the precision, and celebrate every perfectly placed plank.
Okay, those are some solid takeaways.
Like you mentioned earlier.
There's always more to the story, right?
That's right. The article we've been deep diving into focuses on the technical aspects of laying herringbone flooring, but it doesn't delve into other factors that might influence your choices.
So, what else should people be thinking about when planning your herringbone project?
For instance, have you considered underfloor heating? That's something that could significantly impact your material choices.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that. So, underfloor heating and herringbone, are they compatible?
Some materials are perfectly compatible with underfloor heating, while others are not. For example, engineered wood and LVT generally work well with underfloor heating systems, but solid wood can be more sensitive to temperature fluctuations.
So, if you're dreaming of toasty toes and a beautiful herringbone floor, it's essential to do your research and choose materials that can handle the heat, so to speak.
Exactly. It's about considering all the factors that could affect the longevity and performance of your flooring.
And remember, the article we've been discussing is just the tip of the iceberg. The Flooring 365 website has a wealth of resources to help you make informed decisions about your flooring project.
They have a whole section dedicated to herringbone flooring with detailed guides, product recommendations, and even inspiration galleries.
It's like having a flooring expert at your fingertips. So there you have it, your crash course in herringbone flooring. We've demystified the process, uncovered the secrets to success, and hopefully ignited your passion for this timeless pattern.
And remember, knowledge is power. Armed with the information from this deep dive and a little bit of research, you're well equipped to create a herringbone floor that you'll absolutely love.
So go forth, fellow flooring enthusiasts, and create a masterpiece. Whether you're embracing the DIY spirit or collaborating with a professional, we're confident you'll achieve herringbone flooring that's both beautiful and built to last. Happy flooring.